Ever since the Philadelphia 76ers were eliminated from the playoffs at the hands of the Atlanta Hawks, the franchise's offseason has been a hectic one when it comes to NBA trade rumors. This is solely because of one player, and you might have guessed it already. Yes, we're talking about Ben Simmons. And in the latest reports, we can confirm that Ben Simmons is going to the Golden State Warriors. How do we know? Well, the big man is currently not talking to anybody in Philadelphia, and all his talking is being done through his agent. He's also cut off all communication with everyone in the team, including his coach. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Simmons once again had a difficult postseason when it came to the offensive side of the ball. While there's no doubt or question about his playmaking abilities, which remained at a high level, his downright refusal or reluctance in some cases to shoot the ball is one of the major reasons why the 76ers struggle in offense. Simmons had a good regular season and made his first All-Star team, but the postseason ended up being his Achilles heel. In the second round of the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks, Simmons posted just 9.9 points on 6.4 field goal attempts per game. But that's even a fair way to think about it. In his final 3 playoff games, Simmons took just 14 shots. After the 76ers' Game 7 loss to the Atlanta Hawks, the tone of the 76ers head instructor, Doc Rivers, was as negative as anything else you would hear when it comes to Simmons. It felt as if their confidence in the former #1 overall pick was waning, and that a change of scenery could be the best decision for both the 76ers and Simmons. When Doc Rivers was asked if Simmons could be the point guard of a championship team, he simply responded saying, "I don't know," although he did go on later to say this: "Obviously, he struggled from the free throw line, and that became a factor in this series. There's no doubt about that. I still believe in him, but we have work to do. We're going to have to get in the gym, put a lot of work in, and go forward." The damage appeared to have been done. While we don't exactly have all the details about what's going on or what has been going on between the player and the franchise behind closed doors, Simmons must have been hurt hearing his head coach talk like that. It would have sounded to him like they were putting all the blame on him and that they no longer had faith in him. And given the history between the player and the franchise, Simmons must have felt underappreciated and really hurt. We all know that Ben Simmons and the Sixers have been together since day one when he was selected as the first overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft. Ever since then, Simmons has been the bread and butter of the team. He's their most prized asset, and given all that he's achieved since he got onto the team, it's not difficult to see why. Simmons has been proving himself since day one. He was named NBA Rookie of the Year in his second season in the NBA, which was in 2018. Ever since then, he's gone on to feature in the NBA All-Star team in 2019, 2020, and 2021. The only stain on his career has been his inability to shoot and find the basket. So much that it appears he doesn't even try to shoot again in the court. Because of this, the Australian native had been at the center of several jokes among Sixers fans. There are a number of reasons why the 6'11" wants out of the Sixers, some of which are his fault. Some of them are things that are out of his control. Simmons' value has probably dropped to the lowest in his entire career, but that didn't stop the 76ers from beginning trade talks with other teams in regards to their prized jewel. Of course, the interest in Simmons was high, but the 76ers have been playing hardball, asking for a ridiculous price for their main man. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why Ben Simmons has cut off communication with the organization. He also said he's willing to skip training camp as well. With the way things are going, it seems like it's just a matter of when, not if, the former LSU product is traded. Bleacher reporter Jake Fisher has also recently confirmed the reports of Simmons cutting off communication. According to Fisher, the situation appears to be getting worse by the day with Ben and the franchise. Joel Embiid has also tried to reach Ben several times since the end of last season, but he hasn't returned any of his calls. Damage has been done, and Ben doesn't want to return to the 76ers. Simmons is an elite defender, but he's been unable to develop a jump shot in the NBA, and that weakness has haunted him all throughout his career, especially this past postseason. When Stephen A. Smith was asked if he would pursue Simmons if he was in charge of the Warriors, he said, "Yes, I do. I do understand from what I'm hearing that it's a house divided in that regard. Some people do, some people don't. I would tell you that I certainly understand any divide in the Bay Area. Look at the way that Draymond Green has struggled to shoot the basketball the last few years from the perimeter. If they added Ben Simmons to that mix, where would that leave us?" Simmons seems to rely on bullying his way into the court and dunking the ball, rather than shooting the ball. This is something many fans and players alike to a very large degree consider old-fashioned. In this modern age of basketball, you're only a complete basketball player if you can shoot three-pointers and make those jump shots. The thing with Simmons is that he is not even attempting three-pointers. This will most likely shock you, but did you know that in Simmons' 5 years in the NBA, he's only attempted 34 three-pointers? Curry has probably attempted more three-pointers in a single game than Simmons has in his entire career. It only gets worse when you look closer at the stats, because in those 34 attempts, Simmons has only scored 5. He's made just 5 baskets in his 34 attempts in 5 years. so Simmons literally averages 1 3-point basket every season. That's just terrible. To make matters even worse, Simmons isn't good at 2-point jumps either. He scores most of his points by dunking. So yes, he literally needs to be 1 foot or 2 feet away from the basket to score. The main problem with this approach is that it leaves a player open to fouls, which usually results in a free throw. And while that sounds like a good advantage, the problem is Simmons is not good at free throws either. Simmons' free throws sit at a terrible 59.7%. And for a player of his caliber, that's just downright terrible. Now you probably understand why there's a lot of noise about his shooting ability. A. Smith says a lot of rubbish, but when he mentioned that the biggest issue with the Simmons trade to the Warriors, apart from, of course, the outrageous price tag the 76ers have slapped on him, is going to be his shooting struggles. The Warriors will be concerned that if they should move for a trade for him, they will be fielding Simmons next to Draymond Green, who himself struggles with shooting. The defensive ability of the two would obviously pair well with Green, and having Simmons would allow him to initiate the offense, which would allow Curry to hunt more off-ball. Both Simmons and Green are at their best when the ball is in their hands. Their playmaking ability at their size is what made them key pieces of their team's success. But neither is that big a threat off the ball, which will only limit what the other can do. There's every possibility that Simmons might never develop an adequate jump shot, but just imagine if he did. Simmons would become a beast. He would be invaluable for any team because if he were to improve his shooting from the free throw line, he would provide whichever team he's on with an elite style of defense and still provide the team with plenty of scoring to go along with it. Simmons is 6'10". He has magnificent ball handling skills, great athleticism, has the ability to push the ball up the floor, to kick the ball out to open shooters, and he is an elite defender. If you add finishing to that, then any team in the NBA has the Defensive Player of the Year. That's the reality of things because that's how good he can be. Stephen A. Smith also said, if you looked at Ben Simmons and realized that he could shoot free throws in the 75 to 80% range, he would easily be a 23 to 25 point per game scorer. Without a jump shot, that's how good he is. 23 to 25 points per game and elite defense could have a huge impact on any team. The question now is, what will it cost the Warriors? The Warriors might have to give up the likes of Andrew Wiggins and a few first-round picks to acquire Ben Simmons. The Warriors will of course want to keep the likes of James Wiseman, Draymond Green, and this is a no-brainer, but they will want to keep Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Prior to the NBA draft some weeks ago, it was reported that the 76ers offered the 25-year-old to Golden State in exchange for James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, the number 7 and number 14 overall picks, as well as 2 future first-rounders. The Warriors obviously rejected this package. We're pretty sure that Bob Myers probably fell over laughing when he heard the request before he hung up the phone. That's just an insane offer. No way the Warriors are going to accept anything as outrageous as that. We all know that the Warriors are on the hunt for another star they can pair with Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green. And as of now, Simmons is the only big player openly available in trade talks. Should the Warriors be able to pull off a trade for Simmons and work on his shooting, the Golden State are pretty much set for another championship run next season. However, this is an important offseason for both the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors. For the Warriors, they will be looking to create a rebirth around their championship core, while they also groom the young players into winning machines. This is a make or break time for the franchise, and any wrong trade or transfer would have a long-term effect on their championship aspirations as well as their future. For the 76ers, they are now left with a ticking time bomb. They have a player on their hands who has cut ties with the team and franchise. If they can't get a trade in place before the start of next season, leaving Simmons and the team will create friction. It only makes sense right now for both parties to go their separate ways. However, it remains to be seen what will eventually happen. But you can trust us to keep you posted and up to date with all the latest news and gossip on everything and anything NBA. Comment below to let us know your thoughts and be sure to subscribe for more. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another one of our videos. We'll see you next time, latest Hoops fans. Until then, keep shooting your shot.